All right, hi, welcome back everybody. We are here to do another episode of Clearing with Kate. This is a dowsing modality, see I've got my dowsing pendulum here, called spiritual response therapy or spiritual response technique. It was developed back in the 80s by a gentleman who was part pastor, part psychologist, observing and watching some hypnosis sessions and watching for people's ideomotor responses. That's like when you ask someone a question and you notice, do their eyes go left, do they go right? In hypnosis, they would watch, is their finger moving when we ask them this yes or no question? And then slowly over time, this modality was developed, and it is what I am doing right now for you. This is when we use our pendulum and a series of questions to dive into the root of something that is not serving us. Today, we're looking at the energy of addiction, and we're gonna say, what might be the underlying cause of this addiction? What can we learn about ourselves as it relates to this addiction that may help us to overcome the energy of this addiction that is holding us back, holding us down, keeping us stuck in patterns and habits that are not serving our greater good. And then we look at a new energy to replace this addiction with. And today that energy was poise. How do we draw in our poise? How do we, it's funny because when I think about poise, I think about the people who are poised, they feel good about themselves. They know who they are. They are confident. They are strong. They are certain in their value. I am poised because I know who I am and what I bring to the table in every circumstance and situation. And so we're going to release addiction, which is us being trapped. It's us being called into and attached to something that, again, is not serving us. We are not in our own power when we are in addiction. And instead, we're going to get to that place of poise, where we can control ourselves, we can feel good about ourselves in each and every single moment. So that's what we're gonna do now, again, using our pendulum and using our dowsing charts. Today I've got my little mini charts with me. For those of you who've seen me before, we've got big charts, we've got small charts. Today, I don't know, sometimes it's just easier for me to flip through with our mini charts. So we're gonna get started right now and say, what is the root of this addiction for the collective consciousness today? So we're looking at blocks to our positive expression. This is usually our replacement energy chart. This is where we found poise. So it's so funny. We are blocked to our sobriety. So simple as that, right? And it's interesting because sobriety was the energy that just came up, by the way, but it's blocked to our sobriety is the root of addiction. You're like, duh, okay, that makes sense. And though, I think the thing that I like to do when I'm doing this work is we just take it a layer deeper and a layer deeper and a layer deeper. So we're gonna find out here in a minute, why are we blocked to our sobriety? But the first thing that just popped up in my head was like, it's this desire to escape. When we are sober, we are being called to have all of our senses in this very present moment right here and right now, as hard and uncomfortable as that may be. And if we're blocked to being sober, I'm curious, and we'll find out again, how much of that is this desire to escape the challenges of this life, desire to escape the discomfort that we're all feeling. I mean, I'll just be real. Waking up this morning and seeing a bunch of more awful headlines, I absolutely thought the first thing that came to my mind was like, can I just sleep all day today? Can I just not get out of bed? Can I just not have to confront this? And so in its own way, that is a lack of willingness to be sober here in this moment, being fully present, fully aware, fully awake to what is going on. And so I would ask for all of us right now to, give ourselves a lot of self-forgiveness. If you are struggling with addiction of any kind, that could be addiction to video games, that could be addiction to shopping, that it doesn't have to be an addiction to a substance. It could just mean you are addicted to not having to be sober right here, aware fully of everything that is going on in this present moment. But again, I'm calling upon all of us right now to be sincerely generous with compassion. Compassion for ourselves, compassion for those of us who are struggling with this, because it is hard being sober. If it wasn't hard being sober, there wouldn't be such a problem with addiction in our world and for humans in general. Certainly in our culture here in the US, it is a big problem. A lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, struggle with some kind of addiction or another. And again, some of them are kind of these hidden addictions, like shopping, like video games, like your cell phone, eating. Addiction to eating, big problem in our country, because we are trying to escape the right here and the right now. So what is the thing that is blocking us the most to our sobriety? We're going to look at that right now with these charts. So our archetype chart came up. For those of you who don't know, an archetype is sort of like the mask we wear. It is the way that we have shifted our personalities. It's a type of uniform we've put on to be able to function in this world. Sometimes those archetypes are developed in childhood. They're developed because of an injury or a wound to your personality that's happened. It can just happen through training inside of the systems that we all operate inside of, like the education system, whatever the case may be. So let's look at it. What is the archetype that is blocking us to our sobriety? The dreamer archetype. The dreamer archetype, and again, this tracks with everything that I just said, which is we are wanting to escape this reality. We would much rather be lost in the dream than have to look at what's happening in the right here and the right now. So release all of us from the over dependence upon the dreamer archetype. The dreamer archetype in and of itself is not inherently bad, but when we're relying on it to escape the here and now and to really lean into our addictions, that's when it becomes problematic. So we're just asking for balance. I'm not asking you to let go of your dreamer archetype altogether. We're just calling on all of us to be able to be balanced in our dreamer archetype, to be balanced in our desire to go into the other realms and explore things outside of the right here and the right now. Okay, so is there anything else we need to do as it comes to this block to our sobriety? Okay, so we're going to chart 20. Wow, I just flipped right to that. Thank you very much for that. An imbalance of our etheric body. Our etheric body, if you go like 2 inches outside of your actual physical form, that's your etheric body. It is the body that is influencing you very much, and you can even feel somebody else's etheric body. If you can feel your own etheric body. If you put your 2 hands like this, really close to one another, about 2 inches, you can feel your etheric body. Mine right now is warm, it's tingly, and it is pulsing. That is my etheric body. And so this etheric body is part of what is contributing to our discomfort. It's part of what is making us want to escape this world. It's part of what is making us want to escape into addiction, because this etheric body is so very uncomfortable because it is imbalanced. And those imbalances can be caused by any number of things. It can be caused if you are a sensitive person. It can be caused because you have been out there in the world, you have crossed paths with somebody who has thrown your energetic body off. It can be so many reasons why your etheric body could be out of balance. And so right now I'm just going to ask you to take a good exhale. Put your feet firmly on the floor if you can, no matter where you're at, and see if you can draw in balance from the earth. Call in balance from the rocks, from the dirt, from the stones. That is where our balance can be at. When we have been off drifting in imbalance, when we've been off drifting in addiction, we've been off drifting in this desire to be dreamy and escapist, we are not here balanced. We are not here right now present, feeling harmony between all of our bodies, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, etheric. And the way to gain that balance back is to ground in. And that's why I try to help us with these energy exchange exercises. As silly as they may seem, it actually can be very, very powerful and potent to force yourself to spend 3 minutes doing a mindfulness practice, like drawing in your breath, intentionally releasing your breath, drawing in new energy, and then releasing that energy and allowing yourself to move forward as a changed and transformed person. So right now we're calling in the energy from the earth to bring balance into our etheric body. So please spend a few minutes doing that if you like. You don't have to stop just because I'm going to move on to other charts. You can spend the rest of this clearing grounding down into the earth. I would highly recommend that for anybody. So outdated religious beliefs just came up. So again, this is one of those moments where for me, I would just ask you to consider this. What outdated religious beliefs, and that doesn't have to be, when it says religious beliefs, it could be religious beliefs, but it could also be spiritual beliefs. It could be any belief system that you have been allowing yourself to operate inside of as a dogma. And so which of your beliefs are so toxic, are so unhealthy, that it causes you to want to escape into addiction? Shame, guilt, fear, doom, terror. All of those things are used. They are the foundation of a lot of religious beliefs, and they are used to cause us distress so that we will be under control, that our behaviors will be controlled by those that have developed those beliefs and those that would benefit from us believing those things. And so I'd ask you right now to say, where in my life am I allowing shame, guilt, fear, doom, terror to control me? And with my exhale, can I really think about intentionally letting those go? I release myself from any shame or guilt that has been operating under the surface. I release myself from the shame and the guilt that has inspired me to escape into drugs, alcohol, shopping, sex, video games, my phone. And I now firmly believe that it is safe for me to be myself. I have nothing to be ashamed of. I have nothing to feel guilty about. I can love myself. I can feel good about myself. I can feel good about my life. I can feel good about being here on this planet at this time right now. And again, we're grounding our feet into the earth as we say these things, really claiming them as our new belief system, claiming them as the new way we want to operate in the world. I no longer want to operate in the world as somebody who is filled with shame, guilt, terror, doom. I don't want to be controlled by anything. There is no addiction I want to be controlled by. Say those words right now. There is not a single addiction I want to be controlled by. I want to be a fully operational self, autonomous, not being forced to act and speak and think because of this external force that is motivating me and fueling me. Okay, so is there more you want me to look at when it comes to the root of this addiction? I'm getting a no. So then we're gonna look at our poise, okay? So what percent, I'm gonna ask, of 0 to 100, what percent are we open to our poise? 0%, and then what percent are we blocked to our poise? 100%. I'm really trying to hold my hand steady so that you can see the movement of the pendulum. Even though it was small, even though it was still, you can see that that was a 0% are we open and 100% were blocked. So let's look at that. So what can we do to help open us up to our poise? What can the charts show us that will help open us up to our poise? Okay, back to chart 20. We were here a little bit earlier. Fine tuning. We're just calling in some fine tuning right now. I love this one. The reason it gave me a smile is because like fine tuning feels like a really small thing. It's not like the charts are saying like, girl, you got to go fully under the hood. You got to get a new engine. You got to get a new transmission. You got to get new brakes. You got to get the whole meal deal. It's like, no, you just need a little fine tuning to open yourself up to your poise. You have it in you. We all have it in us. We all have it in us to be poised. You just weren't fully open to it. Now we're just doing a little bit of fine tuning to say it's a little bit here, it's just a little bit there. We're just going to turn this little screw a little tighter. We're just going to fill up this fluid portal a little bit more. We're going to give you a little bit more energy over here. And now you can be open to your poise. Now you can be open to your poise. So now what percent that we did the fine tuning are we open to our poise? 30%. So let's go all the way up to 100% open to our poise. Sorry, I really want to try to get this so you all can see. Chart 28. Chart 28. We'll go there. Okay. So now what on chart 28 is going to open us up to our poise, releasing our anger at all levels. I don't know if I even want this one. I kind of want, no, I do. We're going to stop holding in our anger, because holding in our anger is causing us to be addicted, and it's blocking us or keeping us not open to our poise. And we're just going to release our anger. Once we let it out, then we can be poised. Because I get that. I get that. If you are holding in your anger, then you're not going to actually be poised. You're going to be like bubbling on the edge all the time. You're going to be like mildly annoyed and mildly like, again, needing to soothe yourself because you haven't let out your anger. If you let out your anger, do you still need to soothe yourself? There's a black cat in my backyard. That is not my black cat. If you allow yourself to fully release the anger, will you then need the thing you're addicted to comfort you? If you release your anger, maybe you don't need that thing to comfort you anymore. Maybe you don't need to escape if you let go of your anger. So we're allowing all of us to release our anger now. And that can look like a number of different things. This does not have to be unsafe or unhealthy or criminal in nature, okay? We don't have to go beat anybody up. We don't have to go break glass at some public establishment, okay? You can do it in your own home, in your own yard, with your own, people surrounding you. You can burn something safely in your own home. You can write down a list of all the things that you're angry about, and then you can burn that. Put it into a fire-safe dish, put it into your stainless steel or ceramic sink, whatever you need to do. You can go outside and do it on your cement patio. Burn this piece of paper and say, I'm done, I'm releasing my anger now. Or, yeah, get glass. Go outside into your back patio and smash a glass. Do whatever you need to do to get that anger out. The other option is communicate to the people who have hurt you and tell them that they have hurt you. You don't have to do it mean, you don't have to do it wicked, you don't have to be vicious, but let them know that they have hurt you. Allow yourself to release your anger, and then maybe you won't feel like you need to soothe with that thing that you're addicted to. Do you need to tell your mom and dad all the ways in which they have hurt you? Do you need to tell your caretaker, your partner, whoever it is? Is the reason that you're suffering with this addiction because you are trying to pretend like you're not angry when you are? And again, this could be you're angry because of really personal reasons, of things that have happened directly to you. And a lot of us are angry right now because of the things that are happening to those out in the world that we love, that we care for, that are vulnerable. We're angry because of the headlines. We're angry because of the horror stories that are coming out of every little, nook and cranny. How can you let your anger go so that you can maintain your poise and get out of this cycle and this pattern of addiction? It might seem counterintuitive. You might think, I'm going to, if I let my anger out, I will never get it back. And that will become the thing I'm addicted to, is expressing my anger. And that is just not true. It is very much like grief. I think a lot of people are afraid to tap into their grief because they're afraid they will never get out of it. And that's the opposite of what is true. When you allow yourself to truly process and let go of your grief, you can let it go. And you can come in and out of it. It doesn't have to be the thing you're stuck in all the time. If you allow yourself to experience your anger, you don't have to stay stuck in it all the time. You can flow through it when it's necessary and natural for it to come up. Okay, so now what percent are we open to our poise now that we've done that? Now we're 100% open. That's my 100 over here on this side. Okay, so now we're going to look at the blocks, right, to wrap up this clearing. So we knew that we were 100% blocked to our poise. What do we have to do to release the block? What is blocking us, or what do we need to do to release those blocks to be able to once and for all unblock ourselves to our poise? We're getting rid of self-limitation. We've been limiting ourselves. I absolutely believe that to be so true. And we limit ourselves with our addictions. It's an excuse. It's an excuse to not have to show up. It's an excuse to not have to get out of bed in the morning. It's an excuse to not have to be, manifesting the success we want for ourselves, or manifesting good, healthy relationships. So releasing ourselves now from this energy of self-limitation. And again, I would ask you to plant your feet firmly on the ground and draw up the strength and the courage from the earth. Release yourself with your breath. Let it out. Blow out that exhale good and long and deep, and let it go as long as you can. Release yourself from that energy now, from that energy of self-limitation. And now, once you've done that, once you've done the somatic work of exhaling, letting that go, screaming, moaning, crying, whatever you need to do to let out that energy of self-limitation, now you can ask yourself, you can sit down with a clear mind, and you can say, where and how have I been limiting myself in my life? And where and how can I start to slowly but surely, one little step at a time, shift out of that? How can I break free from my self-limitation? I would ask you to meditate on that, journal on that, And where and how have my addictions been part of what has been limiting me? And I can guarantee you're going to come up with a lot of things when you really allow yourself to look at it. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to look at it. I think so many of us are afraid to look at our weaknesses. So many of us are afraid to just confront it. But when you confront it, you find it's not so scary. And in fact, in confronting it and looking at it and bringing your awareness to your self-limitations, your addictions, your attractions, the things you have vowed yourself to give your energy to, you may find that it's a little bit easier to actually then overcome them. But when we escape looking at it, when we try to distract ourselves from looking at it, it maintains its power and control over us. And that is why I love spiritual response technique. It does not allow you to stop looking at what you need to look at. It calls you to look at what you need to look at. That is what this work is here to do. It is here to bring your awareness into the things that your awareness needs to be on. And sometimes that is painful and not fun. And I have had a number of clients who don't want to come back because they don't want to do the work of looking at the stuff that I'm telling them they need to look at. And it's not even me telling them, it's the charts telling them, it's spirit telling them, it's their own higher self telling them. Their own higher self wants to transform and wants to get better. But part of the ego, the shadow, isn't ready yet. So are you ready? Are you ready to look at these things? And if you are, please feel free to reach out, www.thepointedstone.com, and I am happy to help you look at that with no judgment. I don't care what comes up for you. I don't care. I really don't. We all have our stuff. We all have our stuff. You could come to me with any kind of addiction, any kind of attraction, any kind of thing you are struggling with, and there is just there's no judgment there. So please consider reaching out if you feel like you are ready to look at your own shit. That's what SRT is. Are you ready to look at your own shit? Then here I am with the pendulum and the charts to help us do that. So now we're going to go to chart 21. Chart 21. Here we go. Chart 21. So, yeah, I was wondering if this was going to come up. So chart 21 has two things on it: your openness to receiving good, greater good, and your desire to suffer. Yesterday, desire to suffer came up, and it was actually in relation to all of us being sick of suffering. We don't want to suffer anymore. And so I'm going to ask, is our desire to suffer causing us to be blocked to our poise? Yes. And do we have any kind of openness to receiving greater good? Yeah, we do have openness to receiving greater good. We do want to receive greater good, but this is interesting. I'm seeing this push-pull, this opposing energy of, I want to receive greater good, but I'm also, plagued with this desire to suffer. How do those two things, how can they exist at the same time? And I think in this world, especially right now, it can feel really, really awful to have the privilege of receiving greater good right now, because again, you're seeing the suffering of everyone around you. And it's almost like, well, if they're suffering, I should suffer. Or, oh my gosh, look at the horrible history of the United States and the awful things that we have done and continue to do all over the world. How can I continue to be privileged and receive good things when I feel like I do not stand by the awful things that we have done, elsewhere? And again, I'm just giving you that example right now. There could be any version of this for you. Is there something that you haven't forgiven yourself for? Did you do something as a child, as a teenager, that for some reason you have never let yourself live down? Did you do something in your 20s that you have never let yourself live down, and you have never forgotten it? Are you waking up to the fact that in your last relationship, you were actually part of the problem? And so you're kind of like, you want to receive greater good, but you also feel like you should suffer for what you've done. And so we're calling in self-forgiveness for all of us now. And you can say, I forgive myself for all of the mistakes that I have made. I forgive myself for my humanity. I am okay receiving good things in a world that I know sometimes is unfair and out of balance. I think a lot of us feel like we have this obligation to play out some kind of karma. And I would ask you to allow the universe to decide what is and is not your karma versus you making it happen for yourself. By, again, pushing away good things, or, blocking yourself, limiting yourself, blocking yourself to your poise. and keeping yourself in the energy of addiction, because again, that's part of this too, right? That's what this clearing is about. So are you allowing yourself to continue in this cycle of addiction because you are blocking yourself to receiving good things, because you don't love yourself, you don't forgive yourself. You don't forgive yourself for something that you did in the past. You feel like you're an awful person. So releasing all of us from that sense now, and opening our eyes and calling our awareness onto the good things that we've done. The good person that we've been, and the good person that we can be. Maybe you're somebody who actually doesn't have a lot of examples of the good things that you've done in this world. Well, hey, why don't you start now? You can shift that at any time. It is never too late to start doing good things. We need it, especially now more than ever. Maybe you're somebody where now that is your calling now. You spent the last X amount of time, maybe decades, being an asshole. Well, now's your chance to make up for that by being a good person in your community, because the community certainly needs you right now. Okay, is there anything else we want to look at for this clearing? No. Let's double check our percentages. What percent are we now open to receiving greater good? 100%. What percent are we blocked to receiving greater good? 0%. What percent are we open to our poise? 100%. What percent are we blocked to our poise? 0%. Wonderful. So we're doing 100% of 100% of mop up. That's when we clear anything out of the way that didn't already come up in the charts, pretending like maybe this was actually a 5-hour clearing that we just wrapped up in 25 minutes, and we're calling in tact. Tact is really important in poise, right? We're calling in our sense of worthiness, and we're calling in our grace. Tact, worthiness, grace, those are the energies that we get to embody now as we move forward in this day, dropping back into the right here and the right now, allowing ourselves to be filled up with compassion, kindness, and care, acknowledging that we've probably all been through a lot of horrible things in this life, and we can be gentle with ourselves and forgive ourselves for those things, believing in ourselves that we can get past our addictions and move into our poise, our strength, our self-control. All right, y'all. I hope that this was helpful for you in some way, and we will see you next time on another episode of Clearing with Kate.